What's going on, everyone? So, I talked about recently the Lakers need a center, right? Like, badly. And I'm still a little frustrated that you didn't bring in Trey Jamison. I talked about it. I'd rather have him and not need him than need him and not have him. And I do think he's a guy that can make an impact in this game. Like, I don't think Trey Jamison's a guy that would have like Lakers are sweeping Minnesota now because we got Trey Jamison or anything like that. But he just gives you that big physical body that you can throw on a Rudy Gobert, and he's not going to get bullied and pushed around like Jackson Hayes was. I mean, like the first play of the game, right? Rudy Gobert just kind of like moved Jackson. Like Jackson Hayes was a gnat. Like, come on, stop. Get off me. Knock that off. Like, go sit down. Go sit in the corner. And it was just like, come on, dude. Like, at least put up a fight, man. Like, you're just getting bullied here, right? And it's just, again, I like Jackson Hayes as like your second or third big. I don't buy him as a starting center. And I think it's very apparent in this series that it's just like, yeah, he's not the guy. Now, maybe in later rounds, it's very possible that he might be more valuable, right? Say we play a Warriors team. Jackson Hayes, I can actually see being more valuable because the Warriors just don't have the interior size to really punish Jackson Hayes. You know, they have posts, but like, you know, he's more of a pick and pop big than he is an interior presence big. So I like Jackson Hayes for a matchup like that. I think he can kind of bring and provide more. But a matchup like this with a guy like Rudy Gobert, who is just so big and imposing, you know, it's kind of an advantage. And obviously once you traded for Luka, right, you knew you had to get a center, right? We needed a center back for Anthony Davis, right? But then it became even more apparent we needed a center once Anthony Davis ended up getting traded in the Luka deal. And we had that center lined up in Mark Williams, right? Lakers go and trade for Mark Williams, giving up Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish first, right? Like, and you know, there was a lot of conversation about, hey, Lakers gave up too much. But I defended it. I was okay with it because it's like, you have to pay to play, right? You have to give something to get something. And people know, Hornets know, like, Mark Williams might be the difference between you winning or losing a championship this year. And, you know, he's also young enough to where now you have him and Luka for the next 10 plus years. And he's already a 20-10 center without Luka. Imagine what he is with Luka, right? Like, so there was a lot of, I think, argument for, yes, it might have been a slight overpay, but it was worth it, right? If this was, you know, Nikola Vucevic, I would have been losing my mind. But for a Mark Williams, it made sense. But then, fast forward, ultimately the Lakers end up backing out of that deal because of a failed physical. And then we know how that whole disaster played out. If you want more details on it, if you're somebody that, you know, isn't familiar with the situation, I have tons of videos on it. I broke it down every step of the way. But it begs the question, all right, and I'm seeing a lot of people bring up this, which is why I wanted to talk about it. A lot of people bringing up, you know, like, Lakers should have went through with the trade. Like, regardless of the health stuff, part of that is he was healthy from literally that moment on, right? He played the entire season. You know, and again, he could have been like, if we had Mark Williams right now, there might be zero question. I mean, we might be up 2-0 in this series, right? We might, this could be a completely different thing, right? Because you'd have a real starting caliber center that could match up with Rudy Gobert, would be a mismatch and advantage against Rudy Gobert because he does have the skill set to kind of pick and pop a little bit as well as just score around the rim. He doesn't need setup. He's not just a lob threat guy. Plus, imagine what Luka would do for him and how easy things would be with Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, right? Like, just, you know, there is a version of this with Mark Williams where you're just like, yeah, no one's beating this Lakers team, right? But unfortunately, we don't have Mark Williams. So, no, a lot of people are bringing up the, like, hey, Lakers really dropped the ball not doing that, right? I think they should have brought somebody big in anyway, even a Trey Jamison. But, you know, and I know we have Alex Len, right? And he's, you know, 7 feet, 7'1", whatever, 250, right? So he has the size. But, like, as surprising as it sounds, he's been worse than Jackson Hayes in that spot, right? So Lakers have no choice but to fully embrace small ball at this point because that's their best chance. Problem is guys aren't hitting shots. Small ball works when guys are hitting shots, right? Because when, you know, Rui and Dorian Finney-Smith and Gabe Vincent and, Jordan Goodwin, all these guys are knocking down shots. LeBron Reeves even, right? When all of these guys are knocking down and hitting shots with consistency and regularity, it puts the pressure on the opposing defense and it makes it harder to match up. Now they can't keep Rudy Gobert in the paint. But you see them, they're playing Rudy Gobert a lot more. Lakers aren't really playing him off the court the way that you wanted them to because they're like, none of these guys can hit a shot to save their lives. So we'll just make the adjustment after. It's becoming a problem, right? So Lakers are kind of in this like live by the small ball, die by the small ball thing. And, it would have been nice to just have that other option, right? Even if let's say small ball was the answer to this series, right? Let's say even Mark Williams, it's just like, it's a bad matchup or whatever. At least you have him for future rounds, right? Like even if small ball guys do start hitting in that, like, Lakers end up running through and winning in 5 because, the small ball is just that effective against Minnesota. Well, now you go and say you play a Warriors team. Imagine how good Mark Williams would be against a Warriors team, right? Because it's like he's a guy that would he'd be the biggest advantage out there on the basketball court for the Lakers, right? Because they don't have anybody that can defend and match up to him, right? As far as size-wise goes. So, that should be barbecue chicken for him. That should be a feast. He's probably averaging 25 a game in that series. Right? So there is this idea of like, man, Lakers should have really went through with it. But on the other side of that, right, I trust, like, Lakers knew how desperately they needed a center, right? That's why they went and were willing to overpay for a center. And I know I've seen people be like, oh, no, Rob just got cold feet away. But everyone was praising Rob. Like, it wasn't like everyone was like, oh man, what is Rob Pelinka doing? Come on, you just did the Luka trade and now you're going to go and do this. No, everybody was like, Lakers just won the championship, right? Like media, everybody, Laker haters were like, damn. Everybody was like, what just happened here, right? Like, Lakers just became the best team in basketball. Yeah, it was a bit of an overpay, but like, it was worth it, right? Like, so Rob Pelinka, I don't think it was a cold feet thing. I think it was, again, you can't just be like, oh, hey, we changed our mind, right? You have to actually, then if that was the case, then the Hornets would have been able to petition it. Funny how the Hornets were going to petition and do all this other stuff and had all this evidence and proof. And then all of a sudden, they were like, no, it's fine. He's our guy. And then are now looking to trade him in the offseason. Like, I thought he was your guy. What happened? I thought the Lakers called and the Lakers were the team that was pushing so hard. I thought the Lakers were the team that. So my point is that obviously the Hornets know and understand and see that there's something wrong with Mark Williams. Yes, he was healthy the back half of the season, but you don't know if he holds up during the postseason. You don't know, especially in such a physical matchup against Minnesota. Right? There's no guarantee. Like, you don't know. I mean, obviously, risk is worth the reward, in my opinion. But I trust this Lakers medical staff and team, particularly the new medical staff and team. Remember, Lakers this past offseason completely revamped and reshaped their fitness and health department. Right? They went and got Dr. Sims, who was Team USA Olympic basketball health, he was the head doctor for the health department. And then before that was, I believe, the track and field, medical doctor, right? So he's a guy that has experience, has been there, done that, right? Like, understands what it takes. They went and got some of the top doctors, all of that, right? Because the Lakers, this offseason, talked about how they wanted to reshape their culture. They wanted to be a pristine organization. They wanted to set the standard, right? They wanted to be the standard rather than, kind of just going through this influx. And look, they hit on JJ Redick, right? Just gave Rob Pelinka a new extension, which when you go get Luka, right, you're getting that, but also made him president of basketball operations. So now hopefully that means Jeannie Buss is just getting out of the way. So now you have that infrastructure, that culture, all of those things. I don't think that because again, the Lakers said it wasn't the concern. It wasn't the knee or the back that they were worried about. It was the long-term degeneratory elements or whatever, right? I'm not a doctor, but the long-term effects, right? And great example that I use is like Andrew Bynum. It was an Andrew Bynum situation, right? That's why the Lakers were able to get Andrew Bynum. And look, Lakers won a championship with Andrew Bynum. And if you would have went and traded for Mark Williams, even if you only won this year with him, and then he just fell apart and you had to go figure something out, it's worth it, right? You just won a championship, right? So again, I do understand and get the frustrations and kind of both sides of the argument. I once again I trust the Lakers staff, right? Lakers knew how desperate they needed a center. They knew that they didn't really have a center. Right? They knew that Luka wanted a center. That was like the first thing he was like when they asked him, "Hey, what do you want for us to help you with this team?" Like even Rob Pelinka talked about like, "Hey, like Luka made it very clear that like he wants a center." So one, I don't think that they're purposely going to try to upset Luka, right? Especially when he's extension eligible. And then they desperately needed a center. They needed a center before the Luka trade. They desperately needed a center after the Luka trade. So I don't think that they looked at all those things and were like, nah, yeah, we just overpaid. No, I don't think they care, right? So I lean towards I trust them. But man, what could be right now, right? Definitely makes you wonder, like what would this team look like right now? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Phil, what are your thoughts? Do you think that the Lakers made a mistake not going through with the Mark Williams trade? Do you think like, nah, like it's fine. Maybe they revisit it, which they can. Maybe they revisit it in the offseason, try to get him for a cheaper deal. I don't know. We'll see. But let me know your thoughts and opinions either way down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.